So right now we're working on a Z32 here. So this car's got a Wiring Specialties harness, but we have to make some modifications because he's added drive-by-wire. So just like in our purple Miata video, drive-by-wire takes up quite a few inputs and outputs. And the thing is that the Wiring Specialties harness is already pre-made. So what I ended up doing was making another spreadsheet like I normally do, and then in my notes I show what goes where. So for instance, they have Wiring Specialties has the H-Bridge 1A that used to be the AC compressor, but I moved it so I made a note here that shows that move the AC relay to H-Bridge 2B. Now the reason why you have to do that is because that H-bridges, you'll see that it's 1A and 1B, those are part of a circuit for a motor. So if you look into here, you'll see that there's a few H-bridges. You'll see this one says H-bridge number 1 winding B and H-bridge number 2 winding B. You'll see that they're on the other pins, there's a 1 winding A and 2 winding A. So those have to go together. So you can't flip the H-bridges around, like crisscross them, otherwise the circuit won't work. So that's why we actually had to move it. Now, if we go over to the Wiring Specialties pin out, and I believe this is where it's at, yeah. So it shows that H-bridge 1A and H-bridge 2B, neither one of them are being used. So I had to move them around. That way we'd have a complete circuit. So, and of course we had to make some documentation to make it easier on everyone down the line. So the one thing that I do really want to comment on is that how great record keeping has been for this vehicle. So he's got like all the documentation of like sensors that he's purchased all on this little baggie. So like it makes it a lot easier. Now obviously I'm very familiar with the Wiring Specialties and ECU Master stuff because we do sell a lot of it, but for someone who is going to drop their car off to do some wiring work, it's really nice that it was all put together. Now what's not really nice though is that I hope you're watching this video, but if you want me to do some wiring stuff, have a battery. There's no battery in this car and it's not even hooked up, so I'm gonna have to somehow magically do all this stuff without any electricity. Not a big deal. There's obviously ways to get around that, but wanted to give a quick little jab to the owner of this car. Hopefully he's watching this video and then he takes it to heart for next time. So currently now I am working on the knock sensors. So he has like the wideband knock sensors. So normal knock sensors only have a single wire. So on wideband knock sensors, you've got 2 wires and a shield. So right now we're working on doing, this is knock sensor number 1. And so as you can see here, we've got the shield wire and we've got a black and a red wire. Now polarity doesn't matter, but we're gonna send this black wire to sensor ground and this will go to our knock sensor input. And then this will finally go to power ground. So we're gonna attach a little bit of wire to this to extend it, but we're not doing that yet until we get the other one stripped. This one I'm actually going to strip a little bit further. The reason is that the knock sensor inputs are at the very top, but our sensor ground, the free pin for our sensor ground is here at the bottom right hand side, either one of these 2 pins here. So we need to have that wire a little bit longer to be able to use it. All right, I forgot to film this part, but basically this gray wire now is our shield that's been extended, and we've got our singular pin for sensor input, and then the singular black wire is going to be for sensor ground. Now in sensor ground I used pin 38 and I was able to get 2 20 gauge wires into the single pin there, and these will be for obviously each knock sensor. Alrighty, so our knock sensor wires are done. We were able to, because the knock sensor wiring was so thin, I was actually able to use a singular sensor ground wire that I had made. So I'm gonna leave this for now, the spare one. I may snip it if we don't need it. And so this is the shield here. So it's going to go to a chassis ground. Now ideally, in practice, this should actually go to like a power ground off of one of these wires. The problem is that all the power grounds here, which is B27 and I believe G17 and G24, they're all used up. So I couldn't get another sensor ground. So the next best place is chassis ground. So yeah, but like for future reference, like if you don't have a harness made and you're going to build your own harness or whatever, then this really needs to go to power ground. This really should go to like a header or a block, but the next best place would be chassis ground. And one other thing to note as well too is that you don't really want this that long. This is, in my opinion, just a hair too long, I think, but because I don't know where the ECU is going to go at, I left it a little long. And the reason why you don't want this that long is that this potentially could become like an antenna for noise. So at this point, we're going to start moving stuff around here. So we're going to go ahead and move this fuel pressure sensor. So this originally was mapped out to B30. We're going to move it to B4. And then we are also going to move the AC compressor to H bridge 2B. So we'll go ahead and move all those. So we're dealing with this for the H bridge, and we're dealing with this for the fuel pressure sensor. So all right, so now we've got everything moved on both connectors, which wasn't very much, but they're both moved now, and we've got it all marked on our Excel sheet. Our next step is to kind of dial down which one we're going to hook up next. So we've got this really short fuel pump trigger wire, like really short. We've got this he bought one of our fan harnesses, which is over here, which needs to have a trigger wire. Okay, well, we're going to tackle the next hard thing, which is going to be draw-by-wire. So this is the draw-by-wire harness right here from outside of garage, which we're a dealer for. Now, this harness is extremely long because it is a universal harness, and what makes this one a little bit more difficult is that there's also a shielded wire here. So the shielded wire, if I recall, should be for the motor. I'll double check that here in a second, but good night. There's like 70 million zip ties on this. Okay, so we're gonna work on cutting the zip ties out, and we're going to shorten this wire first is what we're going to do. Okay, so where we last left off was we have the pedal position wiring, which is right here. And so on this wiring, we've got the 2 greens, the 2 oranges, and the 2 whites. Now the 2 greens are sensor ground, and the 2 oranges are 5 volt. Now also on the TPS side, the throttle body side, we've got sensor ground wire and 5 volt wire. Coincidentally, they are the same color. So the good thing is that I had sensor ground. I made 2 wires off of sensor ground, and we're essentially going to do the exact same thing here on pin B26. Wiring Specialties did not populate that, and 26 is a 5 volt supply. Now the good thing is that because it is a large pin, I can put 2 20 gauge wires into it, into a single pin, and that'll split the 5 volt wiring between the 2 sets of sensors. So I'll go ahead and get started on doing that. Okay, so we got drive-by-wire completed and the pedal position sensor completed. We've got our 2 shield to chassis ground. Now I did find a little bit of a documentation error on Wiring Specialty side, which is understandable. So they have here on the aux connector, they have orange black for the fan, which is they have listed here for aux 6. But if you go over here and look at their official documentation, aux 6 is actually the idle valve. So if you go down here, aux 1 is in fact the fan connector, and I verified it with my multimeter. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to disconnect aux 6 here from all together, and then we're going to wire in. This is the fan trigger. I've already cut it, so I'm going to pin it in, and then that will be our fan wiring there, and that'll be completed. All right, so we got it together. We've got a singular blue wire here that's going to go to the fuel pump trigger. I'm going to leave this unconnected for now, just because that this wire is a little bit on the short side, and I don't know exactly where the EC is going to end up at, so I left this a little bit long. Fan wiring is already done. I kind of screwed up here, so I had to heat shrink it with a crimp connector here to get that back together, so no big deal there. So all this is basically done. The only thing that's left here is going to be the brake, clutch, and ADU install here. So fortunately enough, the ECU master, or the Wiring Specialties harness, has this all pre-wired here. So this is CAN bus, and then we've got chassis ground and power over here. And so I'm going to plug it. I'm going to just simply quickly connect the ADU here. We're just going to do just like electric tape type stuff. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I just want to test these wires right here first to make sure that we can get it to in fact communicate over CAN bus. I'm pretty familiar with the ADU, so I'm pretty sure it'll work, but I haven't done it before in terms of like switches, CAN switches. So I just want to test it first, and this is just the fastest way of doing so. So I had a friend of mine make me a bunch of these pigtails here. I always get my ass kicked on these connectors as much as I do them, even though I have the tooling for them. Just for some reason, man, I always get my ass handed to me on these, and I just do not understand why. So I went ahead and just had him make me a pigtail here, and like I said, we're just going to simply wire this up with some electric tape just to get it going. Since the fella who owns this car is the opposite of advanced, if you catch my drift, he didn't bring us a battery, nor does he have, he's only got the positive cable, no grounds made, no nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and just, we've got a battery here that we borrowed from the Cobra. I got some terminals, I got some 0-aught. I'm just going to make it real quick just to make my life easier. If I do this now, it'll just save me a lot of time with a bunch of headache. So let me go ahead and get this started. Like I said, we'll just build a simple ground really quick here and just put a terminal in on the end of this battery, and then we should be able to obviously get power. So it'll take me a little bit of time, but I'll go ahead and I'll get this made. All right, so I got a poorly made battery cable install, but again, good enough for me. So go ahead and get started on our side of the job. We finally got a USB cable that would work because, again, the owner, being the not advanced guy he is, forgot it. So I finally found one. This is an older EMU black that has a micro USB. So the later ones, they give you like this little, they have a USB-C adapter. Anyways, doesn't matter. So we're upgrading the firmware right now, and then I'll start configuring the ins and outs of this. So we just got to download an RB25 base map for this really quickly, and then get this all set up. All right, small little mix up. I gotta move the pedal position and the throttle position around. So I had them backwards. Shouldn't be that huge of a change. The only problem is that I kind of like already made the links correct, but I think they're close enough where I should be okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and start depinning this really quick here and get that all fixed. Okay, so if you look here on analog 3 and our TPS, they need to be flipped to be correct. So not a big deal, super simple to take care of. So we'll flip that around real quick, and then that should do that. We should be able to calibrate our drive-by-wire now, so let me go ahead and see if that works anyways, just to double check, see if there's anything I need to do as well. Position of the throttle doesn't move. Check if position sensor and electric motor are connected. Weird. I wonder if it's plugged in or not. See here, 1 and 4, it's showing something, so it should be working. Strange. Okay, so we got drive-by-wire working. It's doing its calibration, just like the purple Miata. If you didn't catch that video, this does take a little bit of time here. So it's already been running for about 5 or 6 minutes. So we're gonna let it run, make sure it doesn't, my laptop doesn't fall asleep, and then we'll let it do its thing. Okay, so you can see that the drive-by-wire stuff has calibrated, but it's not what we wanted. So it's actually running off of another throttle body that I have for another car. It's freaking out right now only because that the throttle table target is all goofy. But so sometimes you have an issue with these adapters or the manifolds that are machined, and they can get stuck on it. So we pulled off the coupler and we were able to push in on it, and it fully opens how it needs to. So it's not getting caught, it's not getting bound up by anything. So there's something definitely amiss here, potentially a bad throttle body. All right, so we got our drive-by-wire working. It was acting up a little bit earlier, but some messing around, I was able to get it open. And hopefully, I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see it from here, but maybe you can hear it clicking or clacking, but it's definitely moving. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but there's something goofy going about, and I'm not sure why. So we got the drive-by-wire working out, and it ended up being just a bad ground on the engine side, potentially. So obviously the non-advanced person who dropped off this car didn't have a battery in the trunk. So we had a battery just kind of draped over into a metal hard spot. Then he has a ground from the engine block to the frame rail, but not a good ground. So when I threw my jump box on it, fortunately enough, he had this little connector here. When I put my jump box on it and then I put my negative in on the chassis up front, it didn't make a connection. So my jump box usually will tell me like how many volts there are on a battery connection, and there wasn't any. So anyways, moving the ground around, I eventually reached the strut tower, put the strut tower on, and I could disconnect the battery in the back, and we actually had like a connected circuit. So I ended up just hooking up the battery plus my jump box in the front here, and that allowed us to calibrate drive-by-wire. All right, so it took me forever, but I got it figured out. So if you look here on the log, in red we have the clutch pedal, and then in blue we've got the brake switch. So go ahead, Andrew, go ahead and hit the clutch in, or whatever you're hitting. What are you hitting? Clutch. So you'll see that it eventually goes to yes to tell us that the clutch is depressed. Go ahead and let off the clutch. Now it goes back to no, so go ahead and hit the brake, and the blue will do the same thing. So now we can see that the brake switch is in fact working. So the ADU currently is receiving the clutch and brake input through the ADU, and it's sending it via CAN over to the ECU. So what actually ended up happening was I converted them into analog CAN inputs. So if you look here, you'll see CAN analog 1 and CAN analog 2. That's the clutch and brake respectively. Now the analog 2 is the clutch switch, and it is actually reversed, so I had to do an invert. So Andrew, go ahead and clutch in, and you see how that voltage went to 0. You can let off the clutch now. Now hit the brake please, and you'll see that it goes up to 5 volts. So the biggest thing that actually got me, that made me really go crazy, is the fact that you actually have to set it up here in the other sensor parameters here, which I don't think I had to do ever on anything else. But once you open this up, so anyways, so once you hit the other sensors and the parameters, you'll see that there's a position for brake pedal switch and clutch pedal switch. So got that all done there. So any other switches that need to go in here, I'll be able to do it. And so how I ended up doing this, by the way, is here. I emulated the CAN keyboard. So the ECU Master's CAN keyboard, I basically stole its ID here, or the hex, and then gave the channels in, and then that's how I was able to get the voltages across.